The car was smoking. I saw it before I saw the man. Pulled to the shoulder of the two-lane highway, hazard lights blinking weakly, a trail of steam rising from the hood like something inside had finally given up. I was already running late, and honestly, I should have kept driving. It wasn't my problem, but something about the way the car sat, not wrecked, just abandoned by luck, made me slow down. I pulled over, rolled down the window. "You okay?" A man stepped out from behind the hood, older, broad-shouldered, graying hair at his temples. Hands covered in oil and heat, he blinked at me like I wasn't real. "Radiators shot," he said finally, voice deep, measured, like he wasn't surprised by anything anymore. "Need a ride somewhere?" He hesitated, then shook his head. "Tow truck's on the way. Just didn't expect to break down out here." I grabbed a bottle of water from the passenger seat and got out, handed it to him. "In case it gets worse before it gets better." He accepted it without smiling. "You always stop for strangers?" "Only the ones that look like they've had a worse day than me." That got half a grin. "Then I must look awful." I didn't disagree, but there was something solid about him, not dangerous, just worn, like time hadn't made him softer, just quieter. "I'm Leah," I said. He hesitated again. Then, "Mark." We didn't shake hands. We just stood there, two strangers in the middle of a nowhere road, pretending it wasn't weird. "Thanks for the water," he said. "I owe you one." "Sure," I said, getting back in my car. "Just don't break down twice in the same week." He watched me drive away in the mirror. I forgot about him, until the next day. I was walking out of my apartment complex when the same old car, now fixed, rolled up slowly beside the curb, window down. Same calm eyes, same voice. I meant what I said. I stopped, heart suddenly in my throat. "Excuse me?" He leaned a little out the window. "I owe you one." I didn't move. "I just want to buy you a coffee. As thanks." I should have said no. I had a boyfriend. I had plans. I had instincts. But instead, I heard myself say, "Okay." He parked, got out. And as we walked toward the corner cafe, I realized something terrifying. I knew that walk, that shoulder, that exact car. It wasn't the first time I'd seen him. I just couldn't remember why. The cafe was almost empty. Just a couple of students in hoodies hunched over laptops, and a barista who looked like she'd rather be anywhere else. Mark held the door open for me, then stepped back, letting me lead. We didn't speak while we ordered, just exchanged glances. When the barista asked if it would be together, he said yes before I could respond. We sat at a table near the window. Outside, the wind tugged at the corners of posters on the bus stop wall. "So," I said, stirring my coffee even though I hadn't added anything, "do you always track down the women who offer you water on the side of the road?" His smile was faint. "Only the ones that look like they've forgotten how to be afraid." That made me pause. "Is that how I look to you?" He shrugged. "You didn't hesitate. That says something. Or it says I'm stupid." "No," he said. "You're brave. Or reckless. Same difference some days." I studied him. "You talk like someone who's done this before." "What?" "Run into strangers and make them feel like you already know them." His expression didn't change, but something in his eyes did. A flicker. A pause. "I don't usually talk to people," he said. "Lucky me." Silence stretched. Not awkward, just full. I kept watching him. He didn't shift in his seat, didn't fidget. Just sat still like someone who knew the weight of silence and didn't need to fill it. "You looked at me like that yesterday," I said quietly. He tilted his head. "Like what?" "Like you'd seen me before." He didn't answer right away. Then, maybe I had. My heart skipped. "Excuse me?" He set his cup down. You ever been in an accident? The question hit harder than I expected. What? He leaned forward slightly. Years ago. Rural road, nighttime, fog. I blinked. I was. Yeah. I was 14. You were in the passenger seat. Your mom was driving. I froze. How do you know that? I was the first one there, he said. Pulled you out of the car. No, I said, shaking my head. No one ever told me who helped. I didn't remember. I hit my head. I thought it was some EMT. It wasn't. I stared at him, breath gone. Why didn't you say anything yesterday? Because I wasn't sure. Not until you smiled. I pushed my chair back, suddenly needing space. He didn't follow. You saved me, I whispered. And then you just disappeared? There was nothing I could do. I wasn't supposed to be there. I left before the ambulances came. Why? His jaw flexed. Because your mom died on impact, and I didn't want to explain why I was there in the first place. The room spun a little. I sat again, slowly. You looked different then, I said. So did you. We sat in silence. Then I asked, why now? Why come back? He met my gaze. Because you looked at me like you wanted to remember. I didn't know what to say after that. For the rest of the coffee, we barely spoke. Every time I opened my mouth, I felt like I might choke on something I didn't have the words for. Grief, shock, gratitude, none of it fit right. Mark paid the bill. I didn't argue. Outside, the wind had picked up. He held the door again as we stepped onto the sidewalk. You okay? He asked. Not really, I admitted. He didn't try to fix it, just nodded like he understood. We stood beside my apartment building. The silence between us turned thick, charged. I should go, I said, though I didn't move. Mark nodded again. But before I turned, he said, I didn't mean to come back into your life. I just couldn't forget your face. I looked at him. I didn't forget you. I just didn't know I remembered. His eyes softened. You were so small. Bloody lip curled in on yourself, but you still tried to pull your mom out of the seat. My breath caught. You saw that? He nodded. You were screaming her name. You didn't know you were hurt. You didn't care. I closed my eyes. God. You don't have to carry it alone, he said. I've been carrying part of it too. I opened my eyes, and for a moment, we just stood there, all the years between us suspended like dust in light. Come up, I said. He didn't move. You sure? No. But I turned and led him up the stairs anyway. My apartment was small, clean but lived in, books stacked on every surface. Dishes from the night before still in the sink. Mark stepped in and didn't say a word. Just looked around like he was memorizing it. I sat on the couch, arms wrapped around my knees. He stood across the room, hands in his jacket pockets. Why didn't you want to explain why you were there? I asked. He took a long breath. I was coming back from a fight with my son, driving too fast, trying to clear my head. I pulled off on that back road because I needed a minute. I saw the car crash seconds after it happened. Your son? He nodded. David. My stomach dropped. David. As in, yeah, he said. Your boyfriend. I stared at him, heartbeat slamming into my ribs. You're David's dad? I didn't know at first, not until he showed me your picture last year. I stood too fast. You knew who I was, and you still... I didn't plan this, he said. I didn't even know I'd see you again. But when I did, you came back. Because I never stopped wondering if you were okay. I paced, trying to breathe. This is messed up. I know. You should have said something. I didn't want to break your life apart. You already did. That stopped him. I sat again. I don't know what this is, or why it feels like I can't breathe when I think about you just walking away again. He moved toward me slowly. I won't. Not unless you tell me to. I looked up at him. I remembered your face when I was 14, I whispered. But I never let myself believe it was real. That someone pulled me out of fire and stayed long enough to make sure I could breathe. He sat beside me. I didn't save you, he said. I just made sure the world didn't take you that day. I leaned into him, careful, quiet, trembling. You did more than that. We sat like that for a long time. Two people neither of us expected to become. And still, all I could think was, he came back. The next morning, I woke up before the sun. Mark was already gone. For a second, I thought I'd imagined everything. The cafe, the memories, the revelation. But his jacket was still draped over the back of the chair, and my heart still felt like it was carrying too much. I texted David. Me, can we talk today? He replied within minutes. David, everything okay? No, not even close. We met at the park near his work. It was cold, and I didn't know how to start. He sat on the bench, sipped his coffee, and studied me. What's going on? I sat beside him. I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. He frowned. Okay. Why don't you talk to your dad? His face stiffened. Where is this coming from? Just answer. David stared at the ground. Because he left. Because he always put his own crap before us. My mom tried to keep things normal, but it was never normal. He bailed. I hesitated. He didn't leave that night by choice. He saved someone. David blinked. What? I looked at him. He pulled me out of a car when I was 14. After my mom's accident. His face went pale. Wait, what? What the hell are you talking about? I explained everything. The crash, the coffee, how I realized who he was. David sat still, jaw clenched, expression unreadable. So he just decided to reappear? Just like that? He asked tightly. No, I said. He didn't plan it. Neither did I. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Because I didn't know how to explain any of it, because it sounds insane. He stood up, ran a hand through his hair. You've been talking to him behind my back. I didn't know he was your dad. And now you do. Yes. And you still kept seeing him. I said nothing. That's not just messed up, he said. That's betrayal. I stood too. He was there for me in a way you never were. David's eyes narrowed. So what? Now you're picking him over me? I didn't answer. You know this is sick, right? He's my father. He's also the man who saved my life, I whispered. David laughed bitterly. Yeah? Well, maybe. He should have left you in that car. I flinched. He realized what he said too late. Leah. I turned and walked away. Back at my apartment, Mark was sitting on the steps. I shouldn't have told him, I said. He deserved to know. He hates me now. Mark looked up. He'll need time, but I won't let him take it out on you. I sat beside him. This isn't right. He didn't argue. But I can't walk away. He nodded slowly. Neither can I. I leaned against his shoulder, breathing in silence. The world wasn't going to forgive us, but for now, we'd forgive ourselves, together. Mark didn't come inside that night. He said he needed a walk. I let him go, even though my whole chest screamed not to. I stayed on the couch, lights off, phone dark in my hand. I kept waiting for David to text again. Apologize. Ask if I was okay. But nothing came. At 2 a.m., I heard the key turn in the lock. Hey, Mark said softly. You okay? He shook his head. No. I stood. Do you want me to leave? His voice was hoarse. No. We sat together on the floor again like it was the only place where the truth didn't echo so loud. He said something, I whispered. David. Before I left. Mark looked over. What? That maybe you should have left me in that car. His expression didn't change, but I saw his hands clench. He didn't mean it, I added quickly. But I think some part of him did. I should have been a better father, he said. But even if I was, I don't think he'd understand what this is. What is it? I asked. Whatever this is between us? He looked at me, like I was the only solid thing in the world. It's the first thing in years that feels like it's worth staying for. Tears stung my eyes. I'm scared of what it makes me look like. Then don't look, he said. Just feel. He didn't kiss me, he didn't touch me, he just looked at me like I was something breakable and sacred all at once, and I realized, in that moment, that he'd never left me. Not at 14. Not now. Do you regret pulling me out? I asked. He shook his head. I regret every day. I didn't come back sooner. I reached for his hand. Then stay now. He squeezed it. I'm not going anywhere. The night held us like a secret. We didn't sleep. Just stayed together, shoulder to shoulder, silence wrapped around us like truth. And in that stillness, I found the only thing I'd been searching for all along. Someone who never let go. The next morning, sunlight filtered in like it knew better than to be too bright. I hadn't moved from the floor. Neither had Mark. My head was resting on his shoulder, our fingers still intertwined. For once, my thoughts didn't race ahead of me. I wasn't planning escape routes. I wasn't bracing for the next disaster. I was just here. He stirred beside me. You sleep? Kind of. Me neither. We stood up slowly, like the night had taken more from our bodies than we realized. I moved to the kitchen and started making coffee. Mark leaned against the counter, arms folded. I should go, he said quietly. My hands paused on the mug. Why? Because if I stay, people will talk. David will never look at me the same. You might not either. I turned to him. Do you want to leave? No. Then don't. He hesitated. What are we doing? I don't know. I admitted. But I know what it's not. It's not fake. It's not forced. And it's not something I'm willing to forget. He stepped closer. I used to think I wasn't allowed to want anything good anymore. You are, I said. We both are. We sat at the table side by side, coffee growing cold between us. The silence wasn't uncomfortable, just deep. Do you regret it? He asked. All of this? I shook my head. You came back for me, and I finally let you. He reached for my face, gently brushing hair behind my ear. No more running, I whispered. No more hiding, he said. We stayed in that moment for a long time. There would be judgment, there would be mess, there would be pain. But for the first time, I didn't care who saw us. I didn't care what they said, because I knew who he was now, and more than that, I knew who I was with him, whole, chosen, free, and finally still.